I am curious though, the way you do things right now, do you feel those goals, are they, for your feeling with the knowledge you have right now, pretty close to achieve, or are they maybe a bit far away before you achieve them?
I want to ask a question about this roleplay. It was a good roleplay, so
How do you think that would make you feel? Let's say you wait and you don't do anything.
the main objection that popped up on this section that we needed to prevent.
It was really sharp in the end of the roleplay when it was like, all right, maybe we
Someone
can try it.
The reason why this roleplay was so good is because there was one big objection, and he was like, let's do consequence, urgency, and commitment. Great, cool. So let's do standard prospect. I want to get into e-commerce. Whatever you guys want, you can just set up the context, and you guys start with the consequence, urgency, and commitment. Just get this guy to be committed. You can create a context. So let's say that you weren't able to get a very strong pain point. This guy was like, everything is okay. I'm not dying over here. I mean, one challenge here and there, but that's the typical narrative of the good to great. And remember, we're just coming from, if you're following my structure, we're coming from goals. So you would have gotten some pretty good goals, some pretty good future pacing.
We'll just try. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Whenever you guys are ready, go for it.
All right. Yeah, perfect. I really feel that you know where to take this, man. I feel that you've been thinking about your goals quite some time, how to like visualize them as well. Obviously, really taking care of your family, creating generational wealth, traveling the world, do the things you want to be doing, having your complete freedom. So I'm totally in line with obviously what you give me. So I am curious though, the way you do things right now, do you feel those goals, are they, for your feeling with the knowledge you have right now, pretty close to achieve, or are they maybe a bit far away before you achieve those?
I would say they are reachable, and it just would take time. That's pretty much it.
Okay, and what kind of amount of time and do you give yourself, you feel like?
Yeah, I think it's hard to say, you never know what life brings you, but I would say maybe at least 3 to 5 years, something like that.
Yeah, and just so I'm curious, because obviously the goals, I feel like you really know where you want to take this. So don't get me wrong, like I see that you're here as well for the right reasons, obviously to speed up the process, to really get to those goals. So I can see you're very motivated to make this. The willingness is there to create that reality, right? Create that dream state. And I see one way or another, you want to make that work. You want to achieve that. But maybe a hard question. Think about it before you answer it. What if you don't change the thing you're doing now? What if you just stay closing, doing the exact same thing like you've been doing the last 2 years? What could be the consequences of that?
I think it would leave me with only achieving my goals when I'm a little bit older. So I'm 35 right now, and it would allow me to only reach them in my 40s. But other than that, I wouldn't have any consequences.
Okay, so the absolute, sorry?
Just takes time.
So you feel like the absolute dream state, traveling the world, having a business that can run for you, complete abundance, helping your kids out, generational wealth will come your way in a couple of years if you just stick to what you do right now.
Yeah, I would be able to do so. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, in 5 to 10 years.
Maybe a little bit sooner, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, and like, would you settle for that?
Well, that's the reason why I'm on this call, right? I'm just looking to speed up that process.
So what do you mean by that? You don't want to settle for that, or would you be fine settling for that?
Well, I'm trying my best to not settle for it.
Okay.
But worst case scenario, I would have to wait until it comes my way. That's pretty much it,
Okay.
I'm trying my best not.
Of course, obviously we're here to take ownership of our future story. So maybe a follow-up question on that. Why do you feel you wouldn't like to settle for that? What's the reason you don't want to settle for this 5 or 10 years? What's wrong with that? You don't have to say that you don't want to, right? It's okay if you do, but why don't you want to settle for that, you feel like?
Yeah, because I want it now. My kids are not getting any younger, and this is the years that they are still spend a lot of time with their father. And once I wait a couple more years, then they will be off to school and stuff like that. So I would prefer to have it now and to be able to enjoy it already.
So you might have the feeling that if you wait or keep things the same, you trade the time with your kids in the future, actually, because they will do their own thing. So you might not see them that often.
Obviously, the older they get, the more of an own life they will get. So this is a time where they're still young and where I'm still able to see them a lot. So that would
Yeah.
change by waiting longer to change this.
Okay, gotcha. And how do you think that would make you feel? Let's say you wait and you don't do anything, and in 5 or 10 years, you didn't take ownership, and that situation happens, right? That consequence happens, that you knew you could change things, but you didn't, and therefore you don't see them a lot. How would that make you feel, you think?
It's a shame for me to wait until that happens like that, and that's the reason why I'm here.
Yeah. So do you really feel like tackling this with me, the team, not settling for that longer approach, but really creating this future in the next year or so? Like, do you really feel that now is the time to do so? Do you really feel that you're committed to make this into reality and to take that ownership?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, obviously, if everything goes to plan and everything is as I expect it to be, then yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Obviously, I would still like to see the program, just hear the
Of course. One spoiler alert though, not everything will go to plan, unfortunately. That's always the case. The biggest and most important thing, I think you feel as well, is taking the ownership that one way or another, you will make it into reality. Maybe not for yourself, but for your kids. Don't you agree?
100%.
Okay. So do you feel ready that no matter the externalities, no matter what happens to you, you are ready to commit yourself to that future with your kids, with freedom, and really creating this not in 5 or 10 years when your kids are out of the house, but as soon as possible?
Yeah, I'm feeling good about giving it a try for sure.
Giving it a try. All right. Okay, we can stop there.
What did you like, or something that he could improve?
It was really sharp in the end of the role play when he was like, all right, maybe we can try it, or if it works out, and didn't just accept the bullshit and got him a commitment.
Yes, good. Thanks for sharing. What else? Anybody else want to share?
The smile was great. The charisma, you could feel it through it, and it wasn't like trying to sell. It was like actually trying to help. With transparency too, with the program not 100% going to plan.
Detachment. He was grounded. Like, it's like he doesn't need the sale. He's not forcing an answer. 100%. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
I really like the framing that he does, the way he builds up the questions. He frames it in a very good way. At one point, he even asked, I even said, maybe think about it for a second before you answer. I really like that as well. What I think could maybe even be extra powerful is if he then paces out the question a little bit more. So, not that he said it super fast, but if he paces it out a little bit more, then I feel like they would think about it better, and it might trigger a bit more emotion.
I can see that. Yes, thank you for sharing.
I would also say it was super good, especially when he said that if you really had to think about it. So something I usually do that really makes them think about it is, especially when you said, would you settle for that? I would say it in a more, not emotional state, but I would be like, but would you settle for that? Just give it a break when I say it, because the way I say it is gonna change the way they think. They're gonna be like, no, wait, I'm not this kind of a person. I wouldn't settle for that.
Yeah, I can see that. Thank you for sharing. 100%. Another point on that that I've seen in myself, my calls as well, is when you're dealing with a type A, in my experience, a dominant personality, that it doesn't work because they're not gonna they're gonna feel offended. So in those situations, I'd say the type of caliber with the man of your caliber or type of entrepreneur, you don't sound like the type of person that's willing to settle for that. Am I wrong? You're not wrong, 100%. But why is that though? Same thing, different route, right? But just for these dominant guys, that's it. I want to ask a question about this role play. This was a good role play. So what was the main objection that popped up on this section that we needed to prevent? Can someone tell? The reason why this roleplay was so good is because there was one big objection, and he was like, if I don't handle this very strongly here, it's gonna backfire in my face later on.
Yeah, that there are also other ways to get from point A to B?
No. But thank you for giving it a shot.
Was it when he said he would just be older? Like it would just take 5 to 10 years, but he'd just be older?
No. So, I mean, it wasn't like a big thing because handle it, but it showed up at the beginning of the role play and saw that, and he just like, okay, boom.
So maybe the lack of commitment, like there were some things that are always obstacles that are coming along?
Yes, exactly. Did you guys saw that? Like the prospect was just saying, well, like, yeah, if 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, I mean, life, he said something along those lines, right? It's like, well, if life give it to me like that, or circumstances happen and it's gonna be that way, then it's gonna be that way. It's not in my control. It's out there. It was just like getting the guy into, you do have control, you have the power, like you can actually get there quicker, but you have to take full responsibility. You have to, is everything is your fault, you know? And even after that, like, I'm willing to give it a try. You know what I mean? Like, there's two different types of individuals. And you guys, each one of you can see different examples. And of course, it's gonna happen. It's like, you have no idea. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm there. Like, just wait. It's creating this. There's no doubt in my mind. It's just almost like a little bit of a laugh of like playfulness, you know? Specifically, you know, he talks about it like, you have no idea, bro. I'm gonna prove you wrong like times 20. You don't know who you're talking about. That amount of certainty, you know, is one of the reasons why he's where he's at. But then there's the other people here that is like, well, you know, if, you know, everything falls into place, and if this and this happen, you know, can you guys see that? I'm just exaggerating on purpose so that you can see that. Yeah.
Honestly, Paulo, that is, you know, it's you guys, you're so lucky to sell to mostly men, because I have people coming in that says, if God and my previous self would allow it, then I would be able to make it. It's like, how do I even talk with that? Like, I have people saying they came into this life again in another person, and if this life will make it happen for them, like, at least guys, they're like, okay, very logical, you know, like we have something here we can talk about. But sometimes I get women that is like up here and they're like in their spirit, and oh yeah, that is like harder to talk to, because it's them not taking accountability, but they're placing it on somebody else, right?
Yeah.
I have one thing that helped me out, like in a conversation I had lately with also a big believer in God. And I read a quote that said, God will steer the boat, but you will have to row. And I really liked that one. And it helped him to really look
I love
into,
it.
okay, wow. And I always say, but bro or girl, you can say bro, but I'm a firm believer in God as well. And I do believe that God gives you a vision and a dream for a reason. So it would really be a spit in his face if you don't really act on it, if you want to be harsh. But yeah, those are very hard, to be honest. Like, I have to pray on it, then I think like, God damn.
Like, she only talks, it's just on a female offer. So
I was gonna say like the same thing as there was like another saying that God feeds the birds, but he does not drop the worms in their nest.
nice. There you go. Love it. Thank you for sharing.
All right, that is it for this video. Hope you like it. If you did, smash the like button. It really helps the channel. And it also tells me that, hey, maybe I should do more of these videos. So after you've hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, so you're part of the tribe. And one last thing, let me know in your comments down below, what do you think of this video? I always read all the comments, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. See you there.